continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Warner Anderson as Matthew Swain, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, and Mia Farrow as Allison Mackenzie.
Midnight in Peyton Place. The square is deserted, but a light burns in an office window where George Anderson has barricaded himself against the world.
Boys, I got in my foxhole. Now you try and put me out.
Who is it? Elliot Carson. And you're my tenant, Dr. Rossi.
Yes, would you like to come inside?
Thank you.
I'll be with you in a minute. Well, can I fix you a drink?
Thanks, yes. I'd like some whiskey, a little water.
I was halfway expecting you. I suppose you came to talk about the house.
Well, it started out as a walk across the dunes.
In the snow?
Well, a walk at night under any circumstances is somewhat of a novelty for me.
Yes, I guess it is.
See, daytime is bad enough in prison, but nighttime's when it really gets you. You're never alone, you know. The only thing you can do is just lie there and think.
Yes, well, now that you're back, what are your plans for the cottage?
Well, it needs a coat of paint.
Yes, I know that. I didn't want to bother your father with that. He's not too strong right now.
Oh, I'll take care of that. I've thought about this place a lot in prison. My grandfather built this house. He retired from the sea. Carved that scrimshaw work with his own hands. Compass, barometer, and some of the fittings around here, they're off his last ship. I remember when I was a kid, I used to stand next to him here with a compass, and I'd help the old man steer a course around the Horn. And the wind would howl around the corners of this place, so we'd send the men aloft, have them reef it in for a blow. I love that old man. I suppose you think that's not the only memory I have of this place.
Well, frankly, I was surprised that you wanted to come back here.
Because of what happened to my wife? It doesn't bother you?
Well, I didn't know any of the people involved.
Well, a lot of things happen in this room. I'd rather remember the wind blowing through the rigging.
I suppose you want the cottage back, then?
I want to think about it. Thanks for this. Good night.
Oh, good night.
Anderson? I know you're in there, Mr. Anderson. Will you unlock the door? This is Howard King. Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson? Anderson, what's going on in there? Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson? Will you let me in? This is foolish, Mr. Anderson. Would you remove those things from the door? Come on, Mr. Anderson, be reasonable. Anderson, what are you trying to pull? Come on, let me in.
For you, Julie. Thank you.
Yes? Yes, this is Mrs. Anderson. Mr. Howard King. Yes. Yes. I see. I understand, Mr. King. Mr. King, I appreciate your position, but please don't do anything until I get there. Yes, I'll be right over.
What's happened?
That was some man from the realty office named King or something. George is in trouble. Look, he's been in the office all night. He won't let anyone in. I've got to go down right
Now, wait a minute.
Honey, you don't understand. Mr. King tried to evict George. George has locked himself in, and he's pushed all the furniture right in front of the door. Connie, he's got a gun in that office. A Japanese automatic. He brought it back from the war. Look, would you call Dr. Rossi? Ask him to meet me there.
Are you sure he has a gun?
He keeps it in the desk drawer.
Connie, I think we better go up alone. George? George, it's Mike Rossi. Would you let me in? George! George? George? George. Go ahead, Julie. Quietly.
George. George, it's Julie. Let me in. Please, George. For me?
Shut it, though, George. George!
Julie? Julie!
Somebody help me open this door!
Julie? We don't know he shot himself. We heard a shot, that's all. I was shot. George Anderson barricaded himself inside.
He shot himself, I know he did.
We're not sure of that. We know he has a gun.
Listen, I had a long talk with George yesterday. I think I know how we can get to him. George? George, is me, Elliot Carson. George, put the gun away.
Identify yourself, soldier.
I'm your buddy, Elliot Carson.
Never heard of you, soldier. Take off.
Sergeant Anderson. I'm your reinforcements.
I can hold this position all by myself.
You're pinned down. They're ready to make a counterattack. You and me can hold this position forever.
Okay. And I'm giving the orders.
Whatever you say, Sergeant Anderson.
Step back up against the door.
They're moving up new troops.
Yeah. Hey, keep away from the windows. There's snipers in every one of those buildings.
We better start digging in then, haven't we, Sarge?
I think you're right. That's the idea. Anderson has a gun. We know that. He's in a disturbed mental state, but Carson's the only one who can talk to him. I think if we give him a chance, we can avoid any further shooting. Okay, buddy. Now, I've got to brief you. We have a very strong position here. They can't outflank us. Neither can they sneak up from behind.
Oh, okay, Mr. Swain.
Oh, Matt.
What's going on, Michael?
Now, if anybody tries to get through that door, we've got a clear field of fire.
There's only one thing wrong. You haven't got any food or water.
I'll think about that later.
You gotta think about it now.
We will wait for nightfall and then move out under cover of darkness.
Sounds good.
You don't spend 4 years in the Pacific without learning how to handle these cookies.
What happened to this?
It kept ringing.
Hey, get a load of this, will you?
Get down.
I'm sorry, George.
Oh, Elliot. I was a man during the war. For a minute when I was barricading that door, it all came back. And he's gone now. Oh, I must be ready for Section 8.